all aspects now of the economy are getting hit. It's not just the stuff that, really, your cups, your saucers, your toys. It's now entertainment, other aspects. Where do you see this going, and what does it mean for folks out there that are just going to try to make it through the summer?
I really honestly believe that there will be a time that people will write about this, political scientists, and say never has a president self-inflicted more political damage than Donald Trump did at the beginning of his second term. I don't know how he really can't get out of it. As Brandon said, it's not like factories spring up overnight. And by the way, when they do, the goods that they produce are going to cost more than the goods that we're importing. That's why we're importing them, for cheaper goods for America. And so we try to do what we do best, and we need to compete. And some tariffs, strategically and surgically placed, are fair when you have a country that's underwriting industries. But what he's doing here is going to change politics in this country for at least the next 2 cycles, because there's no way he can dig out of this hole easily. And by the way, if Ron Johnson remembers Ronald Reagan, he certainly doesn't remember anything else about Ronald Reagan. Because I guarantee you Ronald Reagan was exactly the opposite of Donald Trump when it comes to trade and understanding that we now live in a global economy. I don't know what Trump has for McKinley and the Smoot-Hawley tariffs. He clearly is fixated on some time in the past, thinking this is going to be a miracle cure, but he has not thought this through, and nobody around him has the nerve to tell him how wrong he is.
It's so crazy that because people are scared to tell, seemingly, allegedly, because that's the only thing I can think of. Everybody said Peter Navarro because he believes this mess. But it's crazy to me that the people that serve at the pleasure of the president, whose job it is to advise the president, are like, just going to go along with the get along until maybe it just hurts a little too much and he decides to back off because they don't want to just tell him the truth. Because the truth is, sir, you don't understand trade deficits, sir. Mr. President, we're going to have an economist come in and brief you because you're wrong, sir. That's how you have to talk to the president.
Well, that's the difference between Trump 2 versus Trump 1. There were those people in Trump 1, including my old boss, Paul Ryan. Donald Trump wanted to do this stuff in his first term.
Gary Cohn.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Gary Cohn brought a packet in to the White House and was like, sir.
Look, I think there actually is a bit of a silver lining for Republicans in this. This is pure, unadulterated Trumpism. And when it falls flat on its face and we see that this type of populism does not work, that it leads to economic ruin, that it leads to bad politics, I'm hoping that maybe we can get this a little bit out of our system faster than we otherwise would. I don't think everyone's going to run away from Donald Trump quickly. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think the ship has sailed on that for a while. But there's no excuses here. This is Donald Trump's economy at this point. This is his policy, and we're going to see what we get from it. I don't think it's going to be good.
But on that point, Brendan, and this is the problem that I think Republicans short term, and by short term, I'm talking 2, maybe 3 political cycles here, right? So you congressional, presidential, congressional. You're right. If all this stuff starts to fall apart, which it will, July, right? Because guess what? Ships that should have been here aren't here. So stuff that's on those ships should have been unpacked and getting to store shelves. Not happening. So when you're looking for that beach ball this summer, guess what? All those tchotchkes are going to be hard to find or more expensive. That then trickles down into the fall. So when you get into this point where that economic pressure begins to land, Donald Trump and Republicans aren't going to be able to sit there and go, well, this is Joe Biden's economy. Because you can't sit here and cherry pick the good stuff on a good day and then on the bad day goes, well, it's the other team that caused the problem.
We seem to be talking about a lot of trivial products that are going to come across. It's everything. It's food.
It's
things that people really need. And we don't need to theorize what's going to happen if you have an election when people are worried about the cost of goods. We just had that election.
Right.
And Joe Biden
got
his, or Kamala Harris, but Joe Biden basically in history got his butt kicked because cost of living was too high. The exact same thing is set to happen for Republicans. They didn't learn their lesson. And again, I asked the big question, for what? For what reason?